Hi everyone, so welcome to my session. My name is Llambí. I'm a business applications technical architect. And before moving on to my topic, I would like to thank the organization, Chris, Besco, Mati, also Sharon, who is moderating the room number 2. Thank you so much, all of you, because I know how much enthusiasm and how much effort it is to building up something like this Metaverse one, the first online conference about Metaverse. So thank you so much. So what you can expect about my session, I'm going to introduce, that won't be at all. I'm not going to show anything related to a demo. So I don't have anything virtual prepared for you. But what I have put is all my expertise as a technical developer, as a mixed reality developer, and now as a business applications developer and architect. I put everything together to bring you my expertise and my knowledge in terms of job opportunities for developers. That's something we done, I remember some time ago, perhaps 2 or 3 years with Power Platform. I used to Sprint as well, which were the new incoming job opportunities for all of those that you wanted to join the Power Platform and become a Power Platform developer. And now that the Metaverse is the focus and is one of the hot topics of Microsoft, I wanted to do the same for all of you.
Mar, you seem to have gone on mute, sorry.
Oh, can you hear me?
No, we can hear you now.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what happened. Sorry.
As you transition to the slide. So
yeah, maybe the enter key. Okay, thank you. So as I mentioned, for those who doesn't know me, my name is Llambí. I work by the international KPMG team as a lead business applications technical architect. You can find me in social media. You can follow my blog. It's in Spanish, so probably you will need some translator on it. I'm part of the Women for Technical Talks initiative. I'm co-host of the Power Quiz. It's like a quiz that we have online with many people around the world, Spanish quiz. And incoming BIT Summit, it's the Spanish Business Application Summit that will take this Friday, incoming Friday and following Saturday. I'm really looking forward for it. Oh gosh, let's move to the topic itself. Before talking about Metaverse and to understand which is Metaverse coming from, we need a little bit of history lessons. So why is this important? Because I have heard a lot of comments about Metaverse, about this is fantasy, this is something that will never happen. Yeah, it's really nice, but companies are never going to use it. And I think it's important to understand how business and how the companies are really betting and are really trying to get into the virtual world. But why is this so important? Where we are coming from. So the first Metaverse experience was in 1956 when we had the first virtual machine. It was a really non-complex machine. You can figure it out on the 50s. We hadn't so much technology, but it was called Sensorama, and it simulated how you experience riding a motorcycle through Brooklyn. So you had 3D images, you had audio, you had also some fresh air on your face. So it was really nice. And it was the first real virtual reality experience that we had in the history. Then it came the science fiction novel from Snow Crash. It was the is where the Metaverse term was introduced. Metaverse was to refer something, an hybrid world where the virtual people and real people can come together and can work together. So then we have like 20 years of history, but the most important, the most important dates are coming from the last 5 years, around 5 years. So we have Oculus Rift, we have the Unity engine. Unity engine is one of the main engines that we will use for Metaverse developing, and that's a key. That's a key software, that's a key asset that we will contempt and we will use on Metaverse. Then we have Altspace VR. Altspace, it's like, social network where you can connect virtually and you can see the avatars from other people. And it's nice to mention it because 4 years later, from the release date, it was 2013, we had Microsoft who start really focusing on the metaverse, and on 2017 they bought the Altspace VR social community. Then we have in between some movements. Facebook acquired Oculus. We have Microsoft releasing HoloLens. And then in the last 2 years, we had something really impact. We had the big impact, and Facebook announced that they will change their name to Meta in order to focus on the metaverse mainly. And Microsoft was in the same line, working already with metaverse engines and metaverse and virtual reality assets, virtual reality products. And that's why it was a key year to announce for sure that metaverse will be a key concept on the Microsoft products. And they introduced Mesh. That's the Microsoft Metaverse for Teams. But that was not the first announcement from Microsoft. For sure, we had plenty of virtual reality products. We had some already low-code engines in Canvas app. We had Dynamics modules to connect with field service in order to provide a really hybrid, a real mixed reality experience to our customers. That was introduced by HoloLens 1 and HoloLens 2. But what was the aim? What was the human and what we were looking for that? Why we had that transition and why we are coming from 1956 till now, till this conference? As humans, we had a constant need and a fantasy somehow of living in a virtual world, somehow and somewhere where we can express ourselves from everywhere. And that's the second key concept. The pandemic and the remote work had already sped up all the metaverse concept because the people were demanding working from everywhere and also working from any space. And metaverse makes sense if you want to connect from your home, if you want to connect from any bar or any coffee, or do you want to connect from your holidays at the beach? So just laying down and enjoying your time. So all the aims and all the experiences that the human had was always driven to have like a fantasy that is not science fiction anymore. I can assure you it's not science fiction anymore. So what we have in terms of metaverse. So if we move into the technical side of metaverse and not from the marketing side and not from the big announcements that we can see every week that are coming from Facebook, that are coming from Microsoft, I'm going to focus to the technical side of metaverse, and in that case, and Mesh. Mesh is the experience that we will have of metaverse into Teams. So we have multiple assets involved, and all these assets are not new. So some of them have been already working for other companies, for other, I will say, for other businesses. And in that case, it was for the gaming world. So all of us, I'm sure that you had experience with gaming, you had experience with augmented reality, even could be mixed reality. And that's the point where business and gaming worlds are coming together. That's why all the business, how we call it, all the companies and organizations that they are aiming to move to the virtual world, they have something already. There is already a basis in place because the gaming market did a lot of progress with it. And right now what we are having is just a link, a merging of these two worlds. So which technical assets we have if we talk about metaverse and Mesh for Teams? We have mixed reality services. I'm going to talk a little bit about which services we have in Asia from Microsoft to start developing our own mixed reality assets. And all these mixed reality services have been used in order to deploy Mesh for Teams. So everything what you will see on Mesh, it's done in Asia, it's done from some developers. So you can start already thinking and highlighting that I'm already talking about jobs, job opportunities. So if you really aim to start a career in Metaverse, take a look to the mixed reality services and be familiar with the engines that are behind. I'm going to go in deep, but just to mention it, we have mixed reality services. Then we have cognitive services. That's something we had already. So everything related with speech, with object detection, with form detection, we had already everything in place, and many companies are already using cognitive services, for example, to make their products more accessible for example, for invalid people, or to make the services more accessible in terms of language. So I have my product in English, but I want to make it accessible in German, in Swedish, and for example, in Spanish. So that's everything done in cognitive services. How Mesh is working with the cognitive services. So every time that we place an avatar in front of us, we are detecting with the face recognition. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. With the face recognition and the speech recognition, these are the cognitive services from Microsoft. We are detecting the real face of the person, and we are translating all these expression points in our avatar. So then the third asset that we have in place are the Unity services, as I mentioned, as face recognition or machine learning. For those that are not familiar with Unity, what is Unity? Unity is the main engine for game developing. Story time. I used to remember when I was at university, we developed some video games, we developed some videos, 3D videos using Unity. It's an open source, can be deployed in any platform, can be displayed in any interface, and it's one of the main gaming engines and cores right now. So Unity was introduced in the Microsoft services as well, and you can now start developing your own Unity projects and export them in Asia. So Unity was one of the engines the main engine that Microsoft used to develop the avatars that you will see on Mesh. Then we have an education. So Microsoft had an education, I think it was 1.5 years ago, the Azure OpenAI. So OpenAI, it was an initiative to open any kind of cognitive service, any kind of artificial intelligence, machine learning course. It was an initiative to try to open all the coding experience and all the coding opportunities to everyone. And Microsoft did a really good bet on it and incorporate OpenAI services in Asia. So you can, for example, generate GPT-3 models. These are the models that normally run on your devices, on your Android and iPhone devices. And if you have already tried out the Canvas app, mixed reality and virtual reality experience that was built with the GPT model. Then we have the UIT capabilities. Why is UIT capabilities so important in Metaverse and in Mesh? Because some of the experiences that we have in Mesh are really immersive classrooms, are really together modes where we can all be together. Microsoft is working in really immersive experiences where people, virtual people can come together in the same place and can interact virtually. All these UIT capabilities will introduce in the future capabilities of multiple real spaces that you have in your offices. And for sure, the metaverse, that it's more focused on the industry, not on teams itself, will introduce real measurements and real analytics and real experiences on your industries, on your companies, on your real spaces of work. That's why UIT capabilities is one of the main, and if you are familiar with the UIT services of Asia, that will be one of the big packages that will include Microsoft as a metaverse service add-on. Then last but not least, we have the basis. So where all these mixed reality, cognitive services, 3D models, and everything is going to be run. So it's going to be run on your storage, on your Azure. That's why it's so important that we start working and focusing on real big structures, big data lakes, where all this data can be placed. Because I don't know if you have already generated a 3D model by your own, but let me tell you, the file itself, so either if it is a .dc file or II file, it is a really big file. So you have a really big sized file that you have to store somewhere. And you need a really efficient platform to run this 3D model and also to render the 3D model. That's why it's so important to focus on the storage capabilities, the security, for sure, that everyone is capable to access and to work with only the necessary assets. And data. We will talk a little bit about data, why it's so important data here, why Mesh for Teams will introduce a lot of data capabilities and data analytics. So all these assets are involved in Mesh somehow. So all of them are part of Microsoft and are available for you. So in case that you want to introduce Metaverse on your organization, you want to introduce any kind of mixed reality, augmented reality, or virtual reality on your organization, you have already plenty of services ready for you that can facilitate the job. So I'm already talking about those assets because for all these kind of assets, you need different profiles of developers and technical people. And let me advance something to you. There is a huge demand, a really huge demand. We faced it like 5 years ago when all the data analytics and big data world just blow up, and it was this big bubble about data. But at the end, it was a real bubble because many of organizations had plenty, thousands of teras of information that they didn't know how to use and how to analyze. So now we are coming into the next era, as we had with the low code. Once we released the low code, there were a lot of people trying to work with it. And now let me introduce you the new wave, that's the Metaverse wave. And it's really important to highlight that we still don't have people that is capable to fill all the needs and all the demand that we have here. So if you are thinking about changing your track, and if you have heard of someone that is, I don't know, a C# developer, but is bored about doing interfaces or normal applications, let me tell you that there is a really broad path for you. So let's take a look. Let's focus on the mixed reality. So for the ERR, Azure Remote Rendering, that's one of the services that we have in Azure. It helps us to build immersive experience. It can deal highly complex 3D models, and how it do it, it renders a real object using millions, and when I'm saying millions, I'm saying millions of triangles. That's how the 3D models work. And the Azure Remote Rendering is one of the most complex services in the world. So you can render 3D models really easy, and it has a really balanced GPU that can help you, automatically help you, because you know that everything, when you contract and you have a service in Azure, it's automatically managed by Azure. But you can render and you can distribute multiple and parallel GPUs, so you can process your 3D model in many ways, parallel ways. So something that could take for one single thread, I don't know, 1 hour to render, with the Azure Remote Rendering, it can take even less than 1 second. So Azure has a really, really huge ERR service distribute to workload all these multiple 3D models and to render all these 3 models. And let me tell you, I'm really, really looking forward with all the new releases that they are doing on the service, because that was one of the first services that was ready to use. So it's still not, it's not in preview anymore, so you can use it by yourself. And let me tell you, it's making all the rendering process really easy, really, really easy. Then you can have a rendered image that can be displayed in any interface. How we work with Azure Remote Rendering? So we have 2 main engines. We have Unity. So you have to build your 3D model for sure. You need something to display, and C++ for HoloLens. For those that have already built or have worked with HoloLens, you need somehow to code the object in order to be displayed in the program that you want. So that's why it's so important that you build this bridge in order to display the model that you want to render. So again, here there are two big job opportunities. So you have a 3D model designer, someone who has to take a really long time to design, for example, pieces or products of your catalog. And you need a person who makes these 3D models available for your devices. It can be the HoloLens, or it can be the immersive experience of Windows Desktop. I know that they want to introduce Azure Remote Rendering in Android and iPhone as well, but so far, that's what we have. Another Azure tool, Azure Services, they are still in preview, but I guess they will come in live in the incoming month, because they've been in preview already for a year. So that's something that rings a bell in a Microsoft. So when something is already 1 year in preview, they normally release the final version in the incoming month. So it's Azure Spatial or Object Anchors. So both services work in the same way, but one is based for spatials, so it means for rooms, for spaces on your organization. And the second one, the Object Anchor, is based for 3D models. What it does, it maps the entire spatial, the entire space that you have, any room that you have, and it might place multiple 3D objects in order to be interactive. What means interactive? It means I'm not in a room where I see only one interactive object. I can have multiple interactive objects, key points, we call it key points, where I can interact with. That's really important, for example, for Mesh. I think that that's going to be a feature for Mesh on Teams, that I can place some objects in my meeting and I can interact with these objects. And then while I explain something, the people, the attendants, can interact with the objects. That will be one of the features. And I'm sure, I mean, I'm just figuring out, but I think that that will be one of the next approaches in the coming years, because we have it already for Dynamics and for field service. So you have, for example, a real vision, and you introduce the mixed reality, for example, with a piece of work where you lead your colleagues trying to manage the piece of the object or wherever in your industry, or any kind of machine in your industry. And that's how Azure Object Anchors work. So you have mapped your space, you want to place a 3D model, and the 3D model has some anchors, key points, that creates the link with the real world, and whatever, if you move or you change the size of the object will be always placed on the same place. So the Azure Spatial and Object Anchors are working using Unity, and again C++. That's the same as we had before, but because we have to develop some interfaces, because you need to place the measures that you had from your space, and you need to place your object in one specific room, you can define your own interface, and you can do it either with Xamarin, Android, Java, or again Unity. So more coding opportunities that we have in place. So other technologies that we have around Metaverse. We mentioned cognitive services. We have seen how many coding opportunities we have in Asia. We have talked about data, but around the Metaverse projects, there are plenty of other jobs or profiles, let me call it profiles, that can be detected and for sure are demand right now in any Metaverse team. The first one is the Metaverse planner. Because any ideas are cheap, but projects cost money. You need someone who plans the project. So you need someone who has experience with hybrid world, with virtual reality, with SaaS, PaaS, who really understands how everything is deployed in a real organization. So it has a really proper architecture mind, and it's able also to sell and to talk with the customer in order to understand the requirements of the customer. And again, you need someone who is able to plan and who has a broader idea of how long it can take and how much it can take to develop a certain project. That will be a key person, because of course we will have a lot of new profiles coming into the metaverse world, either juniors or people who change their tracks, their path. But for sure we will need senior people, really experienced people that could be capable to build up those business models and make the metaverse projects real. Then we have UI UX. That's always the key point. When I'm talking about opportunities, I remember when I talk about opportunities in Dynamics and Power Platform, I always try to approach the people, hey, yeah, everything is really easy to build up, everything it's low code, but we need people who had enough experience and who had enough skills to make the user interfaces accessible and user-friendly. So the app or even the hybrid experience can be really amazing and can be a really hot spot. But if you don't place an interface that can be easy for the end user to interact with, that's a total waste of money. So that's why, again, UI, UX designers, in order to place those interfaces, if you want to go to mesh for teams, the people who designed the mesh are UI, UX experts. If you want to move to Dynamics and put some hybrid experience, you will need someone from UI, UX. Then we have someone with gaming expertise and NFTs strategies. What does it mean? So every time that you interact with something that is virtual, you don't expect to have it one-one as the real world is. You want something fresh, you want something dynamic, you want something that facilitates your job and makes you spend less time as possible. So that's the gaming experience. So when you play a game, you try to achieve your goal in the less time as possible, and you want to interact with everything that is around you. Also, we need someone who has this, not only this expertise, but the capability to build up the sketches and to define how the experience of the user will be once they step into the metaverse product or the metaverse side of your organization. That's really important. And the same for the NFTs strategies. These are the people that right now are working for crypto money. I'm not going to talk about blockchain, but these are the key people that are trying to define all these kind of strategies and these kind of interactions, and we will need the same in metaverse. Then we have an ecosystem developer, and I'm going just to speed up a little bit. We need someone who is responsible for enabling the metaverse in the organization. So I'm talking about governance, I'm talking about infrastructure, I'm talking about adoption. So to let the people of your organization and your customers understand how those experiences work. Otherwise, at the end, the beginning will be a really hot spot, so everyone will talk about it. But if they don't feel that there is a real efficient reason to step into it, they will just leave it. So the end will be a waste of money as well. Then cybersecurity. So you are opening your organization to the virtual world, either if you do it in your private cloud or you go to Asia, you are leading many people to do interactions. So you have to ensure that all the laws and protocols from your organization and all the government laws are followed, and also for sure to set up some social rules in order to don't abuse of anyone and to don't feel anyone uncomfortable in the metaverse system. Last but not least, I told about the data scientists. So as I mentioned, we need people to to work with the amount of data that you are going to generate. For example, which services are used most, which 3D models are rendering better than the other ones, which 3D models can be improved. All these kind of things are managed by data scientists and data analytics. So let your data people step into the metaverse as well. The next question, so that was all about job opportunities. These are not only the possible ones, but I will say the most demanded ones. Yeah, that's really nice. And some of the people are still not confident enough to step into the metaverse professional world because they want to see how is this going, if this is going to be a real new pillar in any organization. Let me tell you, there is plenty of big international organizations, companies who are already working with mixed reality and virtual reality. I'm talking about IKEA, I'm talking about Microsoft, I'm talking about even Train and big infrastructure and industries that are working with HoloLens and immersive learning. That's a natural next step in any organizational demand. And to let you know that this is real and this is becoming real, so the companies are demanding this kind of new developers with meta skills. That's just a quick screenshot I took yesterday. That's from Madrid. Okay, this is where I live right now. I just placed Metaverse on the job section in my LinkedIn, and voila, there were like in Madrid, like 100 jobs available for people who want to step into Metaverse, either for video developers, for web developers, for technical architects, art producers, or even backend developers focused on Metaverse. So you see that right now, the companies are demanding this kind of profiles. Most of these profiles are just people that they are trying to train themselves and change their path. But let me inspire you and let me tell you that it's a real professional path that you can take. You have seen there is nothing more than what we have seen already. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, cognitive services, Unity, if you are familiar with video gaming, back-end big infrastructures and architectures and data. It's everything what we have seen already, but focused and mainly based for Dataverse. Yeah, and that was everything. I hope I could give you a little bit of overview what is right now in the professional market. How are the companies looking for new developers, and which are the new opportunities that who knows you can achieve in the incoming years. So I don't know if there is any question.
We do not have anything in the comments so far. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything now. That's a really great session, Mar. I think it's really important to see, especially the jobs page you were talking about there, you know, how much demand there is for skills in this area, and it's just going to grow.
Yeah, it's going to grow. And I know that at the beginning, the people think that that might be something that will pass by really quick and the people will never remember about it. But we had the same with low code, and just check right now, there are thousands of people working with low code. There are new developers working with Power Platform, and there are people that they even change their career completely to focus on Power Platform. And I know that Metaverse could look like something really tricky and really difficult because, oh my God, we are talking about something that looks like a video game. But there are plenty of profiles that are demanded right now, and for sure in all the organizations, and we in KPMG we have some projects on it. We see and we know how difficult it is to fill all these kind of profiles.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that people still think is coming, right? The realization that it's already here and already in use in some of those bigger organizations doesn't seem to be at the forefront, doesn't seem to be stuff that people are talking about. So it's really, really useful.
Exactly, it is. So it's not the future, it's here. You have seen organizations are already, companies are demanding people with those skills. We just need to take action.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. There aren't any questions in the Q&A, so if you want to hang around for a little while in case anybody does want to put a question in there. You are our last speaker for the day in this room. I think we're all jumping to the keynote in room 1, I believe, or 3. It's not this one. So, oh, hang on. You have a question. Do you want to read that yourself? Or do you want me to read it out?
Yeah. So if one has some background in C#, learning Unity and becoming Unity developer might help landing Metaverse job in future, for sure. So C# is one of the main coding languages in Asia. So anything that relates with backend, it's done with C#. And if you want to learn Unity, let me tell you something really easy. I did at the university, so it wasn't so complicated. It takes time to get familiar with the tool, and also you need a proper laptop for it, so it consumes a lot of memory and a lot of graphical memory, but yeah, go for it. So honestly, there are even the universities offering a lot of post masters and graduates about video gaming and video design, because they know that it's not only for video games itself, it's also because the metaverse, everything related with virtual reality, is stepping into the real business world. So go for it. Yeah, sure.
And I think Unity is one of those that's, well, it's not just taking over. I mean, it is huge, but it's going to give you such a grounding in anything that does come along, right? It's almost the forerunner of the direction that we're going in. So spending any time learning Unity it's got to be time well spent for a developer.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and you even can have fun at the beginning, because of course you will start building up Legos and designing your houses and small pieces of whatever you have at home, a pen, a pencil, a glass of wine, so whatever. But I think it is necessary also for you, because in the future, if you are a tech developer and your organization is moving to Metaverse, or you want to do it, it's something that sometime it will get into you. So just have fun, take it as a hobby, and for sure it can open you a new gate.
I like your priorities, Mal. Lego and wine, it's all good.
Yeah. I was just thinking how I start. Lego, glass of wine. That's how I start.
Okay, awesome. If anybody else has got a question, please pop it in there. But otherwise, can we please encourage you to go to the feedback? I will pop let's just pop the hyperlink in there for you again, so that you can go and let Mar know what you'd like to hear more of, and let the event organisers know, you know, we want more sessions like Mar's. All of that kind of stuff. It's just 5 little questions. Just give us some feedback, and then we can help make all of these events better for everybody. Really appreciate your time, Mar. Thank you so much for coming on. That was a brilliant session.